right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Callisto, and I'm a volunteer for this session with Mark. We're going to talk about talent, career, and leadership. I have attended a few Credit Matters conferences, and actually I had an idea, and I came to Mark with that Mark, we talk a lot about talent and leaders. Can we actually showcase a real-life leader, like someone whose career progression is kind of exemplary and role model? And then the idea occurred to me when I heard the news about Gabor Meszaros, with whom I worked in GE Capital 9-10 years ago. And ever since I followed his career, that, well, he's actually the guy. Actually, his career progression in order to cash and credit management, something that is worth sharing. And actually I thought, let's invite Gabor here and let's hear his story. So please welcome Gabor Meszaros from Sanofi. Gabor, if you could just say one sentence about you, what you do now. Yeah, we just stand here. We originally wanted to sit, but the seats were removed, so we improvised. So.
Yes, just a few words about me, and I envy your microphone because you look like an aged Backstreet Boys.
Oh, good,
guys,
thank
so,
you.
I got this.
You don't want me to sing, everybody.
No, I don't want you. So yeah, I'm Gabor Meszaros. As you can see on the screen right now, I'm working for Sanofi Business Services. I'm a Hungarian national. Special greetings to all my fellow Hungarians in the room. I'm leading the invoice to cash department there with a headcount around 60 persons and growing. We are doing North American and European invoice to cash activity, namely credit management, risk management, collection, cash application, and sub-ledger related closing, non-trade billing, etc., etc. I've been on the invoice to cash or credit path in my entire life, namely in the last 15 years.
Thank you, Gabor. And obviously, no one is born with an idea that I will be a credit manager. Even in kindergarten, when we play with Lego, you don't think I'm going to be a credit controller or an O2C leader. So it comes later. So what was your story? How did you get into the credit management order to cash industry? What was your starting point?
Yeah, so basically, I didn't really know what to do with myself until late high school. I think many of us, many of you, could share this approach. I was really inspired by these American finance fee movies in the 80s and the 90s, namely one like, remember, Wall Street by Michael Douglas. So I really wanted to be a guy like that because I thought it was so cool. It was. So that's why I turned towards finance. So I have my bachelor's in finance, but actually my master's in international relations and politics. So basically, from the Michael Douglas thing, I turned to that I wanted to be like a diplomat or somebody who's working in foreign affairs ministry, but I couldn't because so many people was running for so few places. So I said, okay, let's go to a multinational company. I know finance, so Michael Douglas thing came back, and then I really, started there, and I've been working in O2C, invoice to cash, for all my life.
And you started as a collector or a cash application? Which
it was a combination of sales support, customer service, collection, and cash application. Yeah.
I see. And what was your turning point to be a leader? You were like promoted, or you went into a leadership program of your company, or so how did you actually become from a average employee order to cash employee into a leader, supervisor first?
Yeah. Actually, after 13 months in my first entry-level job, I got promoted to team leader. That was really scary to me and was really scary to the people I worked with. I ended up in a position, I was not the first choice for that, obviously, after 13 months, but the first choice person decided to leave the company, so basically it fell into my laps. The job, and I was good at talking to people, trained them. I was good with, had a good relationship with everyone in the team. So the manager decided, okay, Gabor, give it a try. And then, ever since in my last 15 years, I managed him for 11 years in total.
Thank you. Well, it's exciting, interesting. And I know you prepared a presentation.
Indeed.
Called Addicted to Credit. It actually got me so excited, and we prepared this session, we went through this. It's actually quite interesting. So can you just tell us and just step up on the podium and tell us why you are addicted to credit?
Sure, thank you. So guys, over there in the back, so I'm going to go to the podium, so I'm putting this down. Let's see, this is working. Nice. All right. So we can go to the next slide, or I can use this, right? All right, everybody was... Okay, what should I do? All right, nice. Okay, so don't get scared. I'm not going to go into very, technical details. I was asked to talk. I was asked not to talk about my company. I was asked not to talk about a specific topic or process. I was asked to talk about myself, and I think this is one of the most difficult thing because I like to talk about everything else but myself. You can ask my wife about it. And related to this, if I need to describe my relationship to my profession, I would describe it as a marriage. And in marriage, they say every 7 years there is a turning point. So in my last 15 years, I should have had already 2 turning points, right? And I'm here to share with you that I didn't have any. So I'm really, really glad and happy where I am. I managed to keep the passion, I managed to keep the motivation all along the way. And here, I really would like to share with you 4 aspects of this motivation and excitement that I have had through the years and keeps me still excited up to today, in my role. And I'm happily sharing with you that I'm still happily married to credit. So the first one, the first chapter, I call it the art of interpreting financial statements. I always admire these people who, look at a bunch of papers full with figures and numbers, and then, make a verdict about the company. So you who work in credit management, credit risk management, we have these financials called income statements, cash flow statements, balance sheets, full with numbers and rows, and basically our profession is to make a judgment on a company based on these papers. And I always wanted to be someone who has the power to read this, understand it, and say that this is going to be it or this is going to be that. It's basically, a game to exaggerate a bit life and death. So going back to this example I said in the beginning, in the introduction, Michael Douglas, so he was like a tough guy, and I really wanted to be someone who understands the business, understands finance, and can make these decisions. And really, the power of influencing business decisions was something that I really wanted to have. So to be more serious, so if you look at these papers, you connect the dots, you draw conclusions, you really can make a big influence on a business decision. And I was really fortunate to do this for many years, also preparing decisions and making and approving decisions. And for me, reading and interpreting these kind of papers is truly an art. So I really find it, that's why I put there the art of interpreting. And I will admit I have become nor the Michelangelo of the financial statement interpretation, neither Michael Douglas in the movie, but I grew a very solid and confident skill set to be able to interpret these things. And I was really lucky to share this passion with many people in my career, along the way. So how you should imagine me in that period? I was sitting for hours and hours in a chair, reading these papers, because I knew that tomorrow there's going to be like a discussion, a negotiation, whatever, and that the end result of that discussion is going to be a yes or no. We enter maybe into a business relationship, we increase revenue, we make profit, we keep production on, we increase sales, and that's how we keep our jobs, we maintain the jobs, everybody in our company, and we replicate this at the other side, at the customer side. So it's really a win-win situation. And what was even better when actually you got to talk to people who are behind these statements, namely the customers, so the senior finance guys, the CFOs, chief financial officers, and you could negotiate real time, even in person, wrestle, a bit, trying to convince each other that who is right, and after that have a nice business relationship starting in an ideal case. So that really gave me an adrenaline rush, and whatever gives you an adrenaline rush, you will get addicted to that. So that's why this is really important for me. So we did have a number of very good examples where a statement looked bad, but we found the parts in it that encouraged us to say that, okay, for a few years we can make business to the customer, and on the contrary, we did have many nice examples when the statements look all good, but we found those risks and highlighted that eventually we didn't enter into a relationship. So for me, that was very important that I'm part of it, and for me, these are not a bunch of papers, but these are exciting material that basically give a map to a customer and is showing a path towards a successful and right business decision. If I go to the next chapter, chapter 2, fraud alert. So hopefully many of you recognize this is the cast of the movie Ocean's 11. And these guys were playing all the tricks on some people to put their hands on the money. It took part in Las Vegas, this movie. And I chose this slide or picture because our profession is really, we are dealing with a lot of money, directly or indirectly. And when there's money, eventually there will be guys who want to have your money or your company's money. Therefore, in my I2C roles, credit roles, for me and for my team, I always looked at ourselves as some kind of protectors. First line of defense, for our company, that we have to be cautious. We have to, realize these fraud attempts that are basically coming in our way, and in reality, there are such guys like these guys. They are not these likable, that these guys, and actually imagine that you or your collection analyst, they do a very good job and hard job to collect all the overuse. So no way. These guys or guys like these going to put their money, put their hands on our money. So we have to protect it. So basically, it gave me like a mission, and when there is a mission, basically there is an excitement. Let me share with you one example. I don't want to be very, very technical, but there was one fraud attempt that actually really scary. It's called the man in the middle fraud. I know that there was a fraud session earlier today. I don't know if it was covered there or not. But basically, what it means is there are, it's a sort of cybercrime. It is when a criminal, a fraudster, creates fake email addresses and impersonates, first of all, you towards the customer through a fake email address, and also impersonates your customers towards you. So that's how the guy is in the middle. And then this guy is going to make email conversations with you and with your customer. And then you think you talk to the customer, but you do not. And your customer thinks he or she talks to you, but she does not. Or he does not. And then eventually what the guy is going to do, hey, we changed bank account details. Let me share with you the bank account details. Please, from now on, wire the overdue amount here. And then if the customer, falls for that, then you are basically robbed, your company is robbed. And I saw many examples like that, attempts. So if you have experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. If you have not, you might. So I'm here saying that this is real and this could happen. So I think in credit we do really have this mission, especially collection, cash application credit, to be aware of this and know what to do when such things happen. So in this very specific case, the customer fell for it and wired 100,000 euros to a fake bank account. And basically the fraudsters are doing all the tricks like these guys in the movie, all sorts of tricks. So it didn't land in one bank account, but it started to bounce from one bank account to another throughout various countries in Europe. And it took like 2 days for the banking system to stop it. So it was a fortunate and nice end result from our perspective, not to be robbed, but it was this close. So obviously it's not excited to be a subject or to be exposed to criminals, but it is excited to know that you can do something about it, and if you are aware and you know what to do, then you're really a guardian of company funds. So this is also a source of excitement to me. Chapter 3, what I call is there is a world outside, and soon in a minute I will explain to you what you can see here in the wall. So when you watch the news on the television, you read the news on the web portals, something major happening in the world, a crisis, you immediately start to think about, in our profession, what impact it's going to bring, to your job, to your team, to your people. And, let it be a natural crisis, let it be a financial or political crisis, natural catastrophe, it always have, to some extent, an impact on our job. Everybody very well knows that in this room. So I remember my first job, it was an American major oil company, and I was working at the aviation department that supplied jet fuel to airline customers. And then, when we were in the aviation department, we always followed very closely the natural catastrophes that are happening in our region. It was the Europe, Middle East, Africa region, because when there is a natural catastrophe, then it's going to affect tourism. If it affects tourism, it's going to impact the airline industry. Look at the last 18 months. This is basically really confirming it. And for an airline that, especially for a small airline that is serving a few locations, if there are weeks of non-flying, that's going to really cut their revenue stream, and basically they are really getting close to insolvency. So we're really watching these signs anywhere in the region, so we understand and we can react to that. So the most memorable example of this in my career, you might remember the 2010 volcano eruption in Iceland, and this is basically the satellite image of that. So up there you can see the volcano and all the ash it's throwing into the atmosphere. So it did throw the volcanic ash over Northern Europe and the Northern Atlantic, and basically there for weeks most of the European airlines and some of the North American airlines were grounded. So that was our customer portfolio. So from one day to another, our job and role really changed. Credit department went crazy. We had to call customers every day, report every small, even one day delay in payments. So we really switched into crisis mode, like it was a crisis out there, it was a crisis inside the office, and for months it really changed our way of working. So with this, what I wanted to just explain and share that, whatever is happening in the world today, that most probably is going to affect your job in some way tomorrow. And for me, this is really a diverse thing, and it's really keep me excited every day. And I'm a news junkie, so I'm reading everything and watching everything and trying to think, if it has an impact on my job or not. So this is an ongoing excitement for me all the way. All right, chapter 4 that I called People Partnering for Success. And let me share with you not a credit-specific example or personal experience, but it's rather a personal people management experience. I said to you or mentioned to you that I really started very early as a people manager, as a leader, after 30 months in my first ever job. Our profession is full of key performance indicators, figures, numbers, trends, never-ending risk, fraud attempts, etc. So it's easy to get lost. It's easy to lose sight of what is important. And the very most important thing is in our job is the people we work with. And this is not something like a nice LinkedIn quote that I got from LinkedIn and brought to you here today. I really do mean it. And I would like to testament it and share this experience with you. So I did not always think that way, that people are important. No. I was usually working in the office nervous. I was on everybody. I was following up on everything. I asked everybody to put everything in writing. I micromanaged people. Kept constantly my hand on everything, everything under control. So I was really, really on everyone or onto everyone. And this is how I started as a people manager. And actually, it did bring nice results, but temporarily only for a time. So this is not sustainable. So in my workplace, this is how I got socialized. Maybe I was appointed too early. Maybe I saw some not the best examples in front of me in the office. But this is how I started to work. And then when I first changed employer to another American company, so you would expect it's the same company culture. It was slightly different though. And I tried with the same approach, and basically it did not work. And I was struggling like hell. It was just basically a disaster. And one of, or among more wake-up calls, there was one big wake-up call that I remember up to this moment is when there was one of my team members saying that, "Hey Gabor, I cannot work with you anymore like this. I'm leaving, resigning, etc." And I said, "Okay, here's the door." So she got stubborn, I got stubborn. We just couldn't work it out to work with each other. And my that time boss told us, "Okay, guys, stop fooling around. Go into that room, work this out, and you only come out of this room when you make a compromise, when you understand each of your point of view, and you figure it out how to work together." And then it took like 45 minutes of discussion with this person, with this individual in the room. But we came out from the room, and the person stayed and didn't leave. And that basically started me to apply a different approach. Obviously, it's a longer period and process, but that was really one of the key turning points. So I started to understand that people, so they are not tools, they are not the instruments, to get the result. Basically, they are the ones who matter. And that's how I became this partnering approach, in people management. So before that, I was focusing on the result, and I needed some people for that because obviously I couldn't do everything. But I realized that, you need to focus on the people, and eventually that is going to trigger the result. So this is what I'm trying to do my best up till today, and encourage you who are leaders, young leaders, to think about it and do the same if you are in a different stage of approach or in your career. So this is what I'm trying to. Obviously, it's not black and white. Sometimes there are gray areas, but at the end of the day, my job is, and the partnering for me means that I'm there to give and explain the company's vision. I'm there as an umbrella from external pressure. I'm there here to support, to understand, to listen, to navigate people, and eventually let them go on to their next assignments when they are ready. So we are not keeping people if they are developed and they have the next stage in front of themselves. So this is how I work and I like to operate, and dealing with people never stops to be an excitement, and it's a big excitement still, up to date. So that was the fourth chapter. I was maybe a bit rushing. I really wanted to be on time. So these were the four aspects. Maybe we can go back. So these were the four aspects among more. So these are the four ones that I chose to share with you today. And I encourage you and wish you that you find your, the secret small parts in your jobs and in your work that will keep your passion along the way and will keep your motivation along the way, because passion is a key to a successful marriage, if I can use that terminology again. And hopefully, if you find these, then you will be a successful person in credit. And I encourage you to stay in credit because I think it's a very, very nice profession. So to quote, as a last sentence, to quote the conference's title, "This is why credit matters to me." Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabor. It was very inspiring, and thanks for the movie references. I look at you as the new Wolf of Wall Street in credit management. So, if you...
I'm going to get less hair, so I'm really like Michael Douglas.
Getting there. So, if that person who you showed the door to that lady, if that person would come back to you and ask you that what she should have done differently, what she should have done to make a career in credit management order to cash, and make it general, what would be your advice to the young wolves in the pack who would like to make a career in credit management, what would be that one thing that you would give as an advice?
Yeah, let me give you then 2 or 3, okay?
Okay.
Please bear with me, thanks.
Sure.
So obviously the first one is what my presentation was about, to find those things that are motivating. We have things in our jobs that are not motivating, that are boring, to be very honest. But if you find those aspects that, you know, fuels you, and you focus on that, and you do it in a very good way, whenever you do something with passion, you will do it in a very good way, and you will be an expert in that, anything that you do in passion. So if you be an expert and you master that, where you have passion, and then you just understand that you have to do the rest, because it's needed, then I think it's a very important thing, and one of the things that I would mention. Also, being more practical, so don't be afraid of moving sideways. Mm-hmm. Even don't afraid to move to other companies. Again, Mark said yesterday, don't leave your company, but sometimes you can leave a company with, you know, with respect and with, you know, with your head up, and you get other experiences, but don't be afraid to experience side roles things, because it's not always, you know, going up. Sometimes you have this kind of path towards, so take that and use that and keep it in mind. And the third and last thing that I wanted to share is that be the person that you like to work with. And these are, you know, normal people things that, you know, the respect, the honesty, to be precise, etc. So these are very important things in our profession. And don't get things personal. This is a job. This is a work, and the most important things are at home, in your family. So don't get things personal, and don't get offended, and don't get, you know, these real-time people conflicts in a workplace, because they're going to, you know, poison you, and will maybe you will stuck. So please be a man or a woman who would like to work with. That would be the last one.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gabor.
And if there's any question, I was asked to throw a ball or a cube to you. So if there's any question, I'm happy to take it.
Questions from the audience?
Then I'm not going to throw to anyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.